and I will just maximize now the screen. I made Natasha disappear that time. So what we'll do, we're going to, I'm going to give an introduction. The meditation we're doing now is called Soften, Soothe, Allow. And what I'm going to be inviting you to do in this meditation is bring to mind a recent challenge. Now, I don't recommend that you bring to mind a very deep and traumatic experience. What I'm asking you to bring to mind is just a recent challenge. Maybe it was with a colleague at work or a customer. Maybe you had a misunderstanding with somebody. Maybe somebody let you down without really meaning to. So just something quite light, or a silly argument with your partner, or something just quite light, but will allow us to delve in a little bit deeper into the emotional side of what came up for you during that challenge. And as always, you have choices in these meditations. So if any time it becomes too difficult, or you're not enjoying kind of going in more into that emotion, just know you can always come back to the breath, or you can always open your eyes. You have choices. So just do whatever that is kindest for yourself. So we'll start off. If it feels good for you, you can do this sitting down. You can always do it standing up as well. So just tuning into your body, whatever you need. If you're doing this meditation sitting down, we have our feet flat on the ground. We have our hands just resting in our laps. We have an active but relaxed spine. So that means get comfortable, but with the intention to stay awake during this meditation. And you can either lower the gaze to the floor and soften the gaze, or close the eyes altogether, whichever you prefer. And just for a moment, allowing yourself to arrive. And if you need to have a bit of a wiggle to adjust yourself, to get yourself comfortable, now's the time to just adjust yourself. So let's just start off by feeling the feet flat on the ground, feeling the chair underneath the legs and the seating bones, noticing where there is pressure on the legs from the chair. Perhaps feeling the weight of the legs, feeling this grounding in the lower part of the body. And in contrast, maybe feeling the uplift of the spine. Again, allowing there to be a softness in the spine. And rather than thinking about the body right now, just getting a felt sense, feeling in to the body, this uplift in the spine and this grounding in the legs. Maybe tuning into how the body is feeling in this moment. And just bringing a kind and curious attention to how the body's feeling. Accepting whatever's there without pushing it away or wishing it was different. So it may be that you're feeling relaxed in the body, or there may be some tension. You may be feeling tired. Or maybe you're just feeling neutral. And for a moment, if it feels good for you, let's just narrow our focus to the breath. So maybe noticing the air as it comes through the nostrils or the mouth, or the subtle rise and fall of the breath in the chest or the belly. As long as this feels good for you, keep the focus on the breath. But if the breath isn't a friendly place for you today, you can shift the focus to either the feet on the ground, noticing the sensations there, or the hands in the lap. So just choosing your anchor, whether it's the breath, the hands, or the feet. And just spend a few moments focusing on the breath. If you notice you have a busy mind, just remembering it's no big deal. That's what minds do, they wander off. As soon as you become aware that the mind's wandered, you can just gently, kindly bring the focus and attention back to your anchor, the breath or the hands or the feet. And now opening up again to the body. And now I'm going to invite you to bring to mind a recent challenge that you've had. Remembering just to pick something quite light, a misunderstanding, a challenge at work, maybe a silly row at home. So bringing to mind this recent challenge. Really putting yourself back there. What was said? Who was involved? What were the facial expressions as you were communicating with this person? Bringing it to mind. And as you recall this recent challenge, just tuning in to how you're feeling as you recall this challenge. You might notice several emotions: anger, frustration, embarrassment, disappointment. Just noticing what's here for you as you recall this challenge. And now I invite you to name the strongest emotion that you're noticing associated with the situation. So this could be anger, sadness, confusion or fear. And just repeat the name of the emotion to yourself. You might like to say, that's grief, or that's sadness. And as we focus on this strongest emotion that we were feeling, start to open up your attention to the body. Where's this emotion manifesting in the body? Now, we often feel emotion in the trunk of the body or in the face. So it could be that you're experiencing tightness in the belly or the chest, maybe tension in the shoulders. Just bringing curious attention to this emotion and where it's manifesting in the body. And now inviting you to rest your attention where you can feel this emotion strongest in the body. So it could be a point of muscle tension or an achy feeling. And just in your mind, gently inclining your attention towards this emotion in the body. And now we're going to explore this emotion a little bit more. And if you're not really feeling it at the moment, maybe just resting your attention in the belly or the chest as we go through the rest of this meditation. So with our attention resting on where we can feel the emotion the strongest, we're just going to soften this area of the body. So without wishing that the emotion wasn't there, just allowing the edges around this sensation in the body to soften. You may wish to say to yourself, soft, 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 soft. And again, just leaning in to this sensation in the body. We're not trying to make the sensation go away. We're just softening around the edges. And next, we're going to, in a way, offer ourselves compassion. We're going to soothe ourselves for having to experience this emotion. So if you wish, you might like to place a hand wherever you're feeling this emotion the strongest. So just placing a hand, if you wish, on where you can feel the body, on the emotion strongest in the body. And again, you might wish to say soothe, 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 soothe. And knowing at any time in this meditation, you can come back to the breath. You can focus away from the body sensation at any time. And as we're soothing the emotion, you may even wish to say some kind words to yourself, like, I'm sorry you had to experience that, or I'm sorry things are hard for you right now. So really taking a kind tone, being kind to yourself. And now we can remove our hands or keep them there if it still feels good. And we're just going to allow the emotion to be there. Again, without trying to push it away. Emotions, like thoughts, come and go. They diminish over time. They're nothing to be afraid of. So again, as we allow this emotion to be there, bringing your curious attention to it. Perhaps you'll say to yourself, oh, so this is what sadness feels like in the body. Or, oh, this is what disappointment feels like. Just knowing that this emotion is not going to last forever, you can just be curious about it. And again, remembering at any time, if it feels uncomfortable for you, you can always come back to the breath. But if it feels okay, knowing we can just be curious and explore this emotion, allowing that emotion to be there. You might wish to say to yourself, allow, 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 allow. And again, we can repeat, soften, soothe, allow. Soften, soothe, allow. And just knowing if you're feeling any difficulty with the emotion, again, you can just come back to the breath and stay with the breath for a while. The breath will always ground us. And now let's take a few deep breaths into the belly. Nice long inhales and exhales. Just letting go. And in a moment, I'm going to ring the bell. And then whenever it feels good for you, slowly opening the eyes and coming back to the room. So that's the Soften, Soothe, Allow meditation. I'd be really interested to hear any questions or anything you observed during that meditation. For example, perhaps you'd like to share where you felt the emotion in the body. So anybody like to share their experience or any questions, or maybe just where they felt the emotion in the body during the meditation? In the chest area. Thanks, Finola. Yep. So this the torso, the belly, the chest, the heart. Yes, chest area as well. Thanks, Hannah. So when we explore and bring this curiosity to emotions, cool, fuzzy feeling around the heart. Thanks, Iris. Upper belly we've got as well. The face. Yep, pinched feeling, disappointment in the chest. Great, thanks for sharing, everybody. It really helps when you share because everybody can see they're not alone in how they're experiencing emotions. And when we look at mindfulness, our mindfulness practice, we notice that emotions are often made up of body sensations, thoughts often are attached to them as well, which can intensify the emotion. And yeah, nobody likes to experience difficult emotions, but through our mindfulness practice, through this accepting attitude and this curious attitude, it can, even when you're feeling sad, it can be quite fun as a practitioner to start to explore, where am I feeling this in the body? Remembering that difficult emotions don't last forever, that they diminish over time, and we can start to explore more. And obviously compassion is a great tool when we are dealing with difficult emotions. But the transformational part, I'm not going to say too much about it, because Natasha's now going to give a nice transformational practice for you that sits very nicely when we're exploring emotions. So handing over. And do you have anything you want to add, Natasha, to this practice as well, by the way?
I was participating in the meditation, of course. It's not a coincidence that lots of people talk about the upper body, the chest. So this is the area where, I mean, traditionally, this is where the most of the emotions are sitting, especially the difficult emotions like sadness. It's very, I mean, when we have back pain or we have, Hara says the practice is very interesting and strong. I agree with that. So when we have stress, is a bit different. Like the stomach gets, kind of, gets in a knot, or we have back pain, is again tension and all that. But when it comes to sadness, disappointment, difficulty, we usually feel it around the heart, the chest, the lungs, this area. It's not 100%, but most of the time. So, as Bernadette said, with mindfulness, we cannot separate the emotions from the body. Everything our body is a map of what we feel or what we think. So what we do is, instead of trying to change the emotion or do something about the emotion, we first accept it by feeling it in the body. So the main practice of actually knowing where in the body the emotion is sitting is super important. Is the number one. That's what we did together just now with Bernadette's leading. But the next step, as I said before, is to, after we have accepted it, and most importantly, we know where it sits in the body, then we open up that area of the body. So we warm it up, we pay attention, and we surround it with kindness. So when this body part is open, then we can move on into actually sending compassion or including other people, whoever was involved, and actively work with compassion. But first of all, we need to cultivate and feel it in the body. And in this situation, in this kind of practices, the body part is the heart, is the lungs, is the chest. Yeah.
This is quite challenging stuff as well. So always remembering you have a choice. We can turn towards emotions, but sometimes it's an act of kindness to turn away from emotions as well, and either go for a nice walk or speak to a friend. So just knowing you have choices, only you know what's right for you. So please go kind with yourselves this evening, and just know at any time you can come back to the breath.
And then, of course, a combination of practices is good. So you can talk to a friend. We can talk to a friend. It's beautiful, and it's very helpful. We can take for a walk. We can go for a swim. No, it's swim is summer in Greece. But also, we can also use mindfulness. So one doesn't exclude the other. We can talk to a therapist as well, of course. But mindfulness is there to support all of these different ways to cope with difficult emotions. So this is just another way to do it that is supportive to anything else. So myself, that's what I do. I mean, I talk to friends, I talk to family, and I also work with my own emotions on my own with mindfulness practice, or I just go for a walk with my dog, or all of them together. So, but it's just that the mindfulness practice are not as known or as as easy. I'm not saying it's difficult to use, but they're not as well known, for all of us to use.